Hey, Finance family, and welcome to this edition of Let's Talk Tuesday. Sorry for the delay, but hopefully you all can hear me loud and clear. If you are joining us live and you can hear, please give me some headphone emojis or some ear emojis to let me know that you can hear me loud and clear. So, like we said in the post earlier this week, this is all about lessons learned from a entrepreneur perspective. And so we want to make sure that we are highlighting. Hold on, guys, I'm going to change out my earbuds. So I want to make sure that when our guest comes on, I can hear the guest. All right. So what I am, hold on, I got a lot of feedback. I'm sorry. So So sorry, guys, all over the place tonight. So we are going to be talking to entrepreneurs from various backgrounds, but I would say pretty much all of the entrepreneurs that I am going to feature, I have worked with in the past, either as a client or they've been a client of mine. Or I know them on a personal level, and then some fall into the category of both. Okay. This first guest that I have, he is that special person that falls into been a client of his. He's a client of mine. I also know him on a very personal level. So I can honestly say that, everybody that will be highlighted on here, like I support them and is someone who I would recommend you supporting as well. Since August is Black Business Month, I want to make sure that we are highlighting Black businesses and that we are supporting one another in our endeavors. And so, one thing that I know when I started out as a Black business, I got a lot of pushback from people saying, you know what, I would support Black businesses, but y'all don't do right. Quality is lacking, customer service is lacking. And so, because of those constant comments, like I hold myself at a certain standard, right? That's kind of higher than some of my peers, right? And so I go above and beyond. And so most of the owners that are really passionate about what they do, Black business owners, they have that same attitude of going above and beyond. And definitely each one that I will be featuring on these lives for the month of August, all right? So rest assured that if you see someone featured on my live, it's definitely a business you would want to get behind, a business you would want to support. So, without further ado, I want to make sure that I give him a proper introduction. Okay. So, we will be talking tonight with Earl White. He is the owner of CIK Motorsports. CIK Motorsports was founded back in 2006. CIK Motorsports is a custom auto body repair shop, or custom auto body paint shop, I should say. So he does everything from fabrications to custom body work, not only on vehicles, but I know I've seen him do some things on like guitars, helmets, and whatnot as well. So he is a jack of all trades, and I dare to say a master of many of them as well. I know that he not only does that, but he also teaches, he mentors. And so that's what it's all about, especially as a Black business owner. Like, we want to give back, right? We want to pour into others. Okay. So without further ado, I want to welcome to the stage Earl White. Earl, can you hear me?
Hey, yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, you can hear me. All right. Thank you, Earl, for joining us on tonight's live. I know that you are a busy man. Like most business owners, right? We're always busy. But I appreciate you carving out time to sit down and talk with us on this special live so we can talk about black businesses and then the lessons that you've learned from being a Black business owner. So without further
Right.
ado, I'm going to give you the floor. I gave you an
Okay.
introduction, but I don't know if I missed anything. So You can introduce yourself properly.
Thank you, ma'am. Well, yes. So I have actually been in business. It was 2005. Um, I kind of loosely formulated it in 2002, but 2005 is when I bought my truck, and that's when I said, okay, I started doing all the little legwork. So I think I told you 2006, but actually it was 2005.
Okay.
But other than that, yeah, everything you said was pretty much right on line. What I do at CIK Motorsports, which the name I also should tell you is going to be changing pretty soon. I have
Okay.
the website is in the process of being designed now, and the name, the badge, the logo, and all of that stuff I've also redesigned. That's already done. Um, so yeah, so this I'm probably gonna wait and just debut it all next year, right at the beginning of the year to start the year off.
Okay.
But CIK Motorsports, the name CIK is still gonna remain. That's my brand. So I'm definitely
Right.
not gonna change that brand. Um,
And
but that
what
said,
does CIK stand for? I'm sorry. Uh oh, we lost Earl, I think. Okay. So we're gonna see if we can get Earl back on the live. I think we lost him. I was just about to ask him what CIK stood for, because I know I often get asked what FYE stands for.
yeah.
All
So I'm
right,
back.
there we
Yeah.
go. Okay,
So CIK stands for Christ is King,
awesome,
is what it stands for.
awesome.
And the name really kind of came to me almost in a dream. I wanted to represent my faith, what I believe in, and I wanted to do it in a way of putting it in your face without putting it in your face.
Right, right,
And so that CIK was born. And then the rest after that definitely is history.
right.
I
I
got a
love
couple
it.
friends. I'm gonna just say this, just little sidebar, kind of make some of y'all laugh. So Christ is King. We know Jesus didn't believe in flaunting money and all of that stuff, but he understood that money is a necessity. Render unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar, right? So
Right.
that said, one of my friends came up and told me and said, he said, hey man, for the cheap people, you should tell them that CIK stands for cash is king for the cheap people. But anyways.
Yeah. Okay. You know what? I could. Yeah, that friend probably has a point, but because cash is king right about now. Okay,
Right.
cool. I love the way that you integrated your faith in your business, because I feel like few and far in between that happens. Oh, we lost Earl again. But few and far between, I think that um, doesn't happen as it should, as often as it should. Because I think some people are afraid of sharing their faith and having that integrated within their business. So kudos to Earl for doing that, for putting CIK, in the forefront. I mean, that's amazing. I love it. I'm a person of faith as well. So whenever I see someone who is a black entrepreneur or just an entrepreneur in general and they're a person of faith, like I'm inspired. I'm encouraged a little bit. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I can rock with them. I want to work with them. So
Yeah,
that's cool. That's awesome.
yeah.
All right,
I don't.
Earl. So I again, you said you started in 2005. Thank you for correcting me. I know that you are in the custom automotive business. So being in that business, and then telling people where you're located, because I didn't mention that. So you're located in Georgia.
In Savannah, Georgia, at
Okay.
7410 White Bluff Road,
Okay.
and so that's where the brick and mortar building is.
Right.
Trying, like I said, to get some things online so I can have a little more of a online presence, make it a little more active, probably or interactive. Probably have some merchandise that'll be going on sale as soon as I get that kind of up and running. A lot of
Right.
stuff in the works.
So, as a brick and mortar client, so here's the thing, I have clients who are service clients, right? Who don't necessarily need a physical presence anywhere, right? Because they can do it from their home, much like myself. And then I have clients who do have brick and mortar, like yourself, and they need a physical presence because of the type of product or service that they're giving to the customers. So, being someone that has a physical presence, can you tell us some of the lessons learned from doing that, like acquiring the space, location, location, location? Like we learned that early, right? That's the key. So, can you tell us some of the lessons that you learned in being some entrepreneur that needs to have a physical presence?
Right. So definitely, for what I do, I definitely needed a building. Location does play a part, but one of the biggest lessons that I learned, and a fella told me this who also did the same thing that I did. He, has I think it's more of a body shop, but anyways, he kind of did the same thing that I did. And what he told me is, he said, Earl, if you do good work, it really won't matter where your building is or where your business is located. If you do good work, the people will come. And for the most part, he's right. But when you're first starting out, you can't necessarily rely on people coming, because that word of mouth, for it to spread, for people to find out where you are, and then by the time they find out, come, that might be years. You might go under by that time.
Right.
So having a great location definitely played a part. When I first started, I was in the hood. The rent was cheap. Um, the area was industrial, and like I said, it was kind of hood, but it helped me to really get my foot in the door as far as having an actual presence in a building that people could come to, so they can
Right.
say, oh, well, go check out my stuff. Hey, yeah, go see this guy. And so
Right.
that worked. Now, if I had to say that I learned a lesson from where I was when I was in the hood, because where I'm at now is a far cry from the hood. I mean, is the area is much nicer. I'm on the south side of Savannah, not far from the mall. Um, Kind of a really nice centralized location where I'm at now.
Okay, we lost Earl again. He was just telling us about location. And so, again, um, as Earl joins, sorry guys, I know location is key. Like Earl said, especially when you're starting out, you want to be in an area where it's high visibility. So I think we got Earl back, and he's
I
gonna
don't know
finish
if that's
telling
my
us.
computer. I don't know what's going on, because
No,
I
it's
reset it
okay.
like Ira said, but
It's
I don't
okay.
know what's, yeah,
No
but
worries. No worries. Conversation's getting good. So you were
yeah.
talking about
So
now
yeah,
that you're in this good location, okay?
yeah. One of the things that I would say for a person who needs a space, who actually needs a physical building where they're going to have to conduct business at, you do not. And this is a this almost cost me my business. You do not want to grow and expand too fast for your business. If you find you a space that works well with your budget, meaning your rent, your overhead stays very low compared to the money that you're going to be bringing in. Because as a new business, if you have to get a brick and mortar building, um, that's an expense that is not going to stop no matter what. It's not going to stop. And that landlord, or the person you're leasing the building from, or whatever, they're going to want their money, whether you're doing good or not. They're going to want their money. And so what um, I kind of did was I jumped out there a little too quickly. I had a friend who was kind of like a business partner, Ted, and Ted told me, it's like, well, man, I don't know if we should make this move. And this is when I was contemplating moving from the hood to a very big building, which I did, go ahead and move into that building. And I was trying to purchase that building. And that building was going for 1.2 million is what they wanted for the building.
Okay. So a good point that Earl made was talking about not jumping in too soon. When he comes back, we're gonna let him to continue to tell his story. Um, but definitely some good lessons, some good knowledge that he's dropping. Yeah, okay, Earl, sorry. So the building you were trying to purchase was 1.5, you were saying?
1.2 million.
1.2?
Yeah.
Okay.
1.2. It would have been 1.5 if I had bought. There was a little adjacent lot that was also could have been sold with the building, and they wanted an additional 250,000 for that little lot, which would have made the total cost 1.5. And I actually was seriously considering getting it because it definitely could have been used for growth. But anyways, um, that is what almost costed me because I moved from the building where I was at in the hood, moved to that big building. So now imagine, if you will, I'm going from a rent of 15. I think when I left out of that building it was about $1,500. So I'm going from a rent of $1,500 to a mortgage of $8,000 per month.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big jump.
It is a
That's a
big jump.
huge jump. Now, yeah. So now the thing about it that was
Yeah, so this is good, guys, because what Earl said about budgeting is key. And I think as small business owners, sometimes we think we don't need a budget, but Earl's going to share with us the reason why it's very important to have a budget.
I kind of
It,
wish I hadn't reset this thing because I don't know. I
it's
think it's mine,
it's
but
okay.
I'm not sure.
It's okay if we fall off again. Maybe we'll have you join via phone. I don't know if that's an option.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I mean, I got my phone here, so yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll
Hmm.
see how it works via phone. But so leaving a rent of 1,500,
Hmm.
jumping into a mortgage of 8,000. Like, how were you able
Hmm.
to
Right.
juggle that, or were you
Yeah.
able to
So
juggle that?
like I said, initially we were able to do it. The business was making enough money, which is why I even was making the move.
Right.
Is so it was because the money was coming in. But the thing about it is because it was such a big move. I really didn't have enough cash reserve.
Right.
I didn't have enough reserve in the business account for it to support such a big jump.
Right.
And that's the thing I would tell people is to that was a huge lesson learned. Like I said, it almost bankrupted me. um
Wow.
I had to downscale and kind of reposition myself and regroup. And then fortunately, by God's grace, this building that I'm in now, which I actually had looked at even before I went to the building in the hood, which is kind of a weird thing there. I guess that's the ultimate plan. God must have knew better than I did. But that building came available. The rent amount was great for the space, and the space was more usable than the building that I was trying to purchase for the 1.2 million. So,
Wow.
there it is. But that was
Wow.
a huge lesson learned. Huge lesson learned.
And just to recap, Five Finance Family, what Earl was saying about cash reserves, capital, I know that I've said it multiple times, and I always share this with clients. The goal is for you to have, as a starting point, at least 6 months worth of all your business expenses in cash. In cash. Because, like Earl says, you don't know what could happen. I think COVID was a true testament to a lot of business owners, because I know some business owners that had spaces downtown Atlanta, and guess what? Those people still wanted their rent, regardless of if business is doing good or not. And some people are still stuck in this lease agreement because they don't care. They don't care that the city is going to shut down again. They don't care. Like, they want their money because they still have to pay bills too, right? Some places will work with you and maybe give you half, or some kind of discount, but sometimes you don't know. So you got to make sure that you have reserves. So that's a very, very great lesson learned. I'm sorry you had to learn it the hard way, Earl, but I'm glad you're sharing it with our Five Finance family. So it looks like we have a comment, or a question. Okay, it says, Earl, what motivated you to become an entrepreneur?
Man, so the the real passion started when I was about 12 or 13 years old. And Sam, you may or may not know this. So my dad had bought a car for my aunt, gave it. He bought the car to give to one of her daughters. The daughter took the car, basically ran the car with no oil in it, spun a bearing. So then me and dad had to go and fix the car. And so he had me fix, help him fix it and rebuild the lower half of the block. And
Right.
that kind of just, you know, is something about it that just really clicked for me. I had already kind of liked cars, but never really knew the inner workings of them until then. And so, same car, he fixes it, gives it back to my aunt. I ain't gonna say her name; she might be looking at this. But he gives it back to the aunt. She gives it to one of her other daughters, and she basically did the same thing. She tore the car, but this time she ran it with no water in the car, so it messed up the heads on the car. So then we had to do a head job on the car, and again, Dad enlisted my help to help him, do the job and kind of teach me at the same time.
Right.
And that's where the passion came from. That's where my
Okay. Let's see if we can get Earl to join us on his phone. Hopefully, when he logs back on, it will be from his phone. Let's see. I think we got him coming in. Okay, you're
yeah,
back.
everything came from that. It's from
Yeah.
that interaction with my dad and
Let's
working on the car.
let's see. Okay, so now audience, right? Five family. You heard him refer to me as Sam. So now that kind of gives away the special connection. No, it's okay. It's okay. So remember I was saying like I have some clients who are clients and then I'm a client of theirs and then I have some clients that know me personally as well. So Earl White is my brother. So I've known him all my life since he's my older brother. Um, and so, with that being said, if you hear him refer to me as Sam, that is why. Because we know each other on a personal level. But I won't share with them your nickname, but I'll keep it professional. Um, but that's cool. You never share that story with me, so it's great to hear, like what inspired you. And I can honestly say that watching you and Dad inspired me to become an entrepreneur. I tell people like it's in my blood, like it's been in my blood for years. I was just too afraid to act on it, and I feel like a lot of times, we let our fear cripple us and for many many years I can honestly say that that's all that it was just fear that was crippling me. So I thank you and Dad, for inspiring me to pursue my dreams of becoming an entrepreneur. So thank you for sharing that story. I
I'm
appreciate
glad you did too.
it. Right, right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
So
So
what you
aside from we talked about location, how you learned your lesson there. What can you tell us about mentoring and employment? Because I briefly mentioned that I know personally you have mentored a lot of people that come through the shop. And I know you have employees or contractors, people that work for you. But in your profession, what would you say is like the best way to approach like laborers?
So this is kind of a catch-22. There's going to come, if you're good at what you do, there's going to come a point in business where you're going to need experienced help. You're
Right.
going to need qualified help. You're going to need, help from somebody who knows what they're doing. You don't have to worry about them. You don't have to guide them or stand over them or pull them by the hand and lead them. It's going to come a point, especially if you start to really get a name for yourself. That's synonymous with quality. That's synonymous with just good work, good attitude. No guile. You're able to be straightforward with your client and your person. There's going to come a point where you're going to need that. So at the beginning, fortunately for me, being, that I was in the hood and everything, I started off with basically hiring most of my friends. So it was, guys who they shared similar interests. You do kind of want to try to do that if you want to work with your friends, and I've even worked with some family. Um, you want to try to find people that have a similar interest in what it is that your business aligns with or what you're doing. since I'm a car guy, of course, quite naturally, I know a bunch of other car guys.
Right.
And so, they wanted to, kind of get into it. One of them wasn't really a car guy, but we kind of even made him a car guy. But he had a passion for art. And that's my guy, Ted. Ted, phenomenal artist. And he just like putting art on whatever, now he puts the art on people. But really just having.
Okay. So that's a good point. I never thought about it from that aspect, but it is important for you as a small business owner um, to try to find people that are like minded to connect with and to work with you. So that's a
those
great point.
typically those typically will be the easiest and best hires, right out the gate. So now beyond that, like I said, once you start getting to the point to where you're going to need qualified help, um, then you're going to have to either have already honed those people who you trained and mentored and kind of apprenticed, because I did a lot of apprenticeships. They're either going to have to already be honed so that they can handle that workload, and kind of help the business grow because they've grown with you over the years. Or you're just going to have to go on Indeed or go on some other hiring platform or some platform where somebody is putting themselves out there and hired that way. Or you can do the old school. I've done the old school, which is just put.
Yeah, old school, right? Putting an ad in the newspaper or putting an ad on Facebook or Craigslist or I don't know what other platforms, Instagram. So I think that's what Earl's referring to when he says old school. So
Sam, you want to try to do the thing over the phone, or?
yeah, let's try it over the phone. So we're gonna disconnect. We'll let you hop off, Earl, and then
Mhm.
let's see if you can call back on your cell phone and see if you can
You want me to
connect
go
with
to
us
that
again.
same, try to go
Yes.
to the link, or?
Yep.
Okay.
You're on that same
Okay.
link.
Okay. All right.
All right. So Earl will be back on shortly, Fire Family. So just be patient with us. It's some good content, so I definitely don't want you guys to leave the room. Definitely want you to stay on because he's definitely dropping some jewels and teaching me. I'm taking notes as well as a new entrepreneur. So hopefully this is helping you, whether you're in the service industry or you're in a product based industry, very similar to Earl, right? Where you need like a brick and mortar. Or are you in the product industry? Maybe you don't have the brick and mortar. I'm sure that the lessons that Earl has learned is definitely something you can utilize because, as he mentioned when he first started out, budgeting, capital reserves, those are terms that some entrepreneurs, some small business owners starting out, they're not familiar with those terms. So the key is to become familiar with those terms, and you do that when you work with a professional, right? You research, you learn things, you ask questions, so that you make sure that you're setting yourself up to be in a position where you will succeed. You don't want to set yourself up for failure. I don't know what the statistics are, but um, I won't say most, but small businesses do go under within the first 5 years if they're not properly set up. Okay, so that does happen. So we want to make sure we're setting ourselves up for success. All right, we
Hey, look at
got
that.
Earl back.
Yeah.
Okay, but I hear audio, but I don't see any video.
Hold on.
So
I see it
let's
here.
see. So you see it, but we don't see it. So give us 1 minute, Earl. I want you to stay on.
Hold on. I think I got it. Hold on. Hold on. Let me see.
Let's see. We're going to see if we can connect you. We can hear you though. So that's like
Huh?
one, that's part of the problem solved. At least we can hear you. But let's see if we can get audio on you. All right, there we go. We got audio. We got audio.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Yep, we
Okay.
got audio. All right, perfect. Yes, I think this will work. Okay. So you were talking about just aligning with like-minded people when you're choosing to hire people, and you also want people that already kind of know what they're doing. Because as a small business owner, we understand, hey, you just got to get the product out, right? Like you don't have time really all the time to mentor because you're doing so much as a small business owner. You got irons and all kind of fires. So so I totally
Exactly.
get it.
No, exactly. Yeah,
Okay, so
yeah.
we have
So
another question. Earl, do you mind if I pause for a question?
yeah.
All right, so Myra says, how did you get the capital to start your business? So we talked about how you learned a lesson, a very valuable lesson. But Myra's want to know, like, how did you get capital to even start it?
Now this is gonna fly in the face of conventional business gurus.
Right.
So I'm just gonna tell you how I did it, Myra. I didn't go to um, any friends or family. I I guess I kind of tried to go to my parents at first, but really they weren't in a position to help me. I did reach out to the SBA, and this is the part that's going to kind of fly in the face of a lot of people that tell you to try to go to the SBA, Small Business Administration, for those who don't know what that means, but they will make you jump through all types of hoops and cut through all types of red tape, only to tell you basically, if they just don't think your idea is good, that hey, well, we're not going to give you the loan. And the thing about it is, when I initially went to the SBA, I only wanted a loan of like I think $13,000 or $14,000. We did the performance sheet, we did everything, the cash flow, we did everything. I said they had a lady who was she was there from the University of Georgia. She was a financial specialist. I mean, this is what she got her degree in. And she sat and for free, this is the invaluable part. This was, I guess, a lesson learned. You could say that was good. There are a lot of resources that the SBA does offer that you can utilize for free. I would say to use those things. Don't rely on them for money. I didn't get no capital from them. As a matter of fact, they frustrated me so badly that I actually ended up saying, you know what? Forget it. I ain't gonna borrow no money from them. I'm gonna make the money on my own. And what I did to raise my own capital and self fund or self finance, if you will, is I took the another idea that I had that was a lot simpler, a much smaller, much less overhead, and I used that idea at the flea market, which is where a lot of you can really grow your business at the flea market. It's cheap. You can get the I guess the your feet wet, if you want to think of it like that, as far as having a lease agreement, and understanding that people want their money regardless. If you say you're gonna come out there, you're gonna be out there, gonna want their money, but it's so inexpensive that you can do it and it won't really kill you. It won't really break your bank. And that's how I raised my money. I stayed at the flea market. I was there just on the weekend. So that means I only had basically Saturday and Sunday to make my money. And I did that for roughly a year, a little bit shy of a year, before I had saved up enough money to move to the mall doing the same thing. And what that was for me was airbrush. Now that's how I did it, is I
Right,
used
right,
another business idea to fund what I ultimately wanted to do.
right.
And
Now, no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I was just gonna say for the young lady, if you have an idea that if you have a goal that is kind of big, and you ultimately want to get to this idea, but you have another idea that may be a little less, a little cheaper, a little easier, go with that smaller idea, and especially if you don't have any help from family. And let's just think of it, and this is what also helped me a lot. I thought of it as it's me. I can't rely on anybody else. I can't rely on my sisters. I can't rely on my brother. I can't rely on my mom and dad. I can't rely on no friends. I even had friends who had money. I have friends who have a lot of money. I'm not even going to rely on them,
Right.
because at the end of the day, I just want it to be something that is between me and God. It's easier that way. But anyways, yeah, just, you know,
Now that's a valid point because I can say that I did something very similar. So there is multiple aspects of accounting, right? So you have the tax side, right? And you have the bookkeeping side, right? And you have the auditing side, right? And so for tax prep, like that's easy, right? That's money with little overhead, right? And it's only for a certain period of time throughout the year, right? So it's not something that you have to stick with for the rest of the year. And so, with that being said, that was a way that I gave myself a little jump start, very similar to you. I said, okay, let me see, let me hit it and make as much as I can during tax season so I can set myself up in a position where I'm able to walk away from corporate America and continue growing the business. So, I mean, that's a valid point. That's a very, very, very valid point. I hope y'all are taking notes because what I tell you, people pay for that information, okay? Because most people want to know, like, how did you do it without help? And so now Earl can say, you know, I did this. I pulled my own self up, right? I don't owe any, like, crazy loans to the bank where I'm going to be working for the rest of my life to try to pay it back. At the end of the day, you know, he invested in himself pretty much. He financed
That's it.
himself. And so
That's
Casey
it.
also has a question. He says, he's asking, sorry, do you think about collaborating with technical schools to receive grants? Huh. What do you think, girl?
So yeah, so interesting. Oh man, I had leg day yesterday. Hold on, y'all. So so interestingly enough, I actually was approached by Savannah Technical College here in Savannah, and the instructor who was on his way out of the auto body department. He was like the the head adjunct or whatever over the auto body. He actually approached me. This was years ago. This was maybe back in 2010, 2011. He approached me and he said, hey, well, you ever thought about coming to teach? Now, it really no big deal for me to kind of do that. I didn't know that to teach technical school, you don't necessarily have to have, a teacher's accreditation and
Right,
all of that. Just as long as you know the skill, and that's what
right.
technical school is all about. It's about having the skill. Sometimes that's more important than somebody who has a whole bunch of book knowledge but might not know how to apply that knowledge. That
Absolutely.
said, he approached me about coming to teach, and one of the things he said, um, uh, uh, I want to call Elder more instead of just saying Casey.
Casey.
But one of the things that he did say or mention to me was not necessarily using the technical school to get grants, but this is another smart way for people who want to hire somebody, and you want to hire laborers who know somewhat how to do the job, but they need to get their foot wet. They need to get
Right,
in the door
right.
because it's real hard to break into some technical jobs. Some skilled professions is hard to get into because they don't want to hire you. They don't want to take that chance on that learning curve of you messing up a whole bunch of stuff and just costing them a lot of money. So what he suggested is I go take the teaching position and then use the teaching position to funnel the best students into my shop. Like my
Right.
brain exploded. That was so ingenious. And this guy, and like initially when he told me, he just wanted me to take the teaching job because he said, man, he said, I like how you carry yourself. I like how you really try to put focus on quality. And he said, just and this was an African American gentleman, y'all. So he said, I like how you represent us. And I thought that was a huge compliment
Yes,
coming from this man
absolutely.
who was at least 20, 30 years my senior. It's a huge compliment. And so at the time, he was like 20, 30 years my senior. But anyways, what I did instead, because I did try to go and apply for the job, some unfortunate events happened. I didn't get the job. Long story short. But I still kind of kept that in the back of my mind. So I had already been apprenticing people, by this time. What I actually wanted to do, and they do have these type of things out here, Casey, where what I started kind of doing and doing on my own is hiring people who have a background in automotive, working with cars, either mechanically or, on the auto body side of it. And they might be at risk. I've done it with at risk teens, and I've done it with, men who they're coming out of prison and they can't find a job. And instead of them just being another stat because of the recidivism rate so high, because they don't give you any help when you get out of jail, they just basically give you a couple of little dollars, throw you out on the street. Hey, you make it how you need to make it.
Right.
And of course, if you don't have anything to go to, you're going to wind up getting locked back up. Now, I was doing this for free. I didn't know, and there are programs out there that are kind of geared towards that will pay you
Absolutely.
for hiring somebody who is, might be a disabled vet, might be, somebody, like I said, who might have been locked up, and they'll pay you to
Mm-hmm.
hire that person. And even if they mess up, I didn't find out any of this stuff until after the fact. And even if they mess up, they will pay you for that person's learning curve. You can't beat this stuff. You can't even
Yep.
make it up. Can't even make it up. But if I had it to do all over again, I definitely would have worked a little more closely with the technical school, because really that part of it alone would have paid for itself. I wouldn't even have needed a grant. I could have just took the best, brightest students and told the instructor at the technical school, hey, look, whoever is in your top 10 percentile, that's who I want.
Right.
And then tell them, like, instead of them staying and they having their little regular class at school, they would actually come with me during their regular class hours, but come to the shop because it's usually in the day. Come to the shop and they would work, like maybe 2 or 3 hours out of the day at the shop. That way they're getting actual hands-on experience. They're seeing how a shop functions. They're knowing what they need to know. It's almost like a internship, or what do they call it? Like when you know, the doctors do that, whatever
A
it is.
residency.
Residency. There you go. Yeah,
Right.
there you go.
Right.
Exactly.
No,
Exactly.
but that's a valid point. So you made a lot of valid points, but I'm just gonna try to real quickly touch on three of them. So not only would you have been helping the school, but you well helping yourself, but you also would have been helping the school because people choose schools based on their rate of getting a job right afterwards. So not only their graduation rate has to be good, but the job placement rate should be good too. So if you were telling them, hey, your top 10%, like I got a job for them, right? That makes the school look better from that aspect because you're guaranteeing those kids to have a job after they graduate from their program. And then another thing that you touched on was hiring certain people. There are so many tax strategies and benefits to hiring convicts, ex-cons, people who, like you said, are veterans, hiring people from certain income levels, from certain demographic locations, even having your business set up, like you said, in the hood. There's benefits to that. And so people, I know for me, when I worked at Caterpillar, I used to think, why are their locations like always in some country area, very rural or very urban, right? It's urban. So it wasn't until, I started like really doing a lot of research for myself and to help my clients that I realized they're getting money for this. Like they're getting money to set up shop in this particular area. They're getting money to hire these particular people. So, like you said, Earl, is definitely a lot of opportunities for the small business owners, and also to help out those who may be overlooked when trying to enter into that workforce again. So kudos to
Right.
you for doing it for free. That's awesome. That speaks volumes of the character, right, of a person that you are. So I hope if you are in the Savannah, Georgia area and you need some custom auto body work done to your car, this is a guy. Look at this. Look, he got great character, right? And he's going to give you quality work. So kudos to you. Thank you for doing that. It looks like we also have a comment from Wayne. Again, this is how the rich get richer. That is right. That's right, Wayne. This is how the rich get richer. It's really it's sort of like one of those well kept secrets, but it's really not a secret. You just have to know. You just have to research. So, but
That's
that's
it.
definitely what it's all about. So we have been on for almost an hour, Earl, and I could just talk to you forever. But
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know
we have
that
good conversations anyway.
yeah, I know. I know, time is money. And so we want to make sure that we got your pictures up on the screen. So I hope everybody can see some of this good custom audio. Yeah, you want to speak to some of the pictures? I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I was gonna say too, and this is another lesson learned. I went through some difficulty in the process of moving my business from the hood to that big old $1.2 million building that I was trying to purchase, and then to where I am now. And I really believe that God has positioned me to be right where I am right now. Everything that I did is all coming to a head right now to be at this point right now. So I'm in a pretty good place. Not perfect, but just in a really good place. But that said, along the way, one of the things that I learned, and this is another valuable lesson learned, if you're starting out, in your business, and let's just say everybody told you that oh, that's not a good idea. It's probably not going to make any money. Which you're always going to have those naysayers, right? But let's just say they told you that, or even worse, let's say you is the person who wants to start the business. You started out and it's just not moving for you. The beginning of it, you're barely getting by. You might be making, and this is gonna sound funny to some of y'all, but as a business owner, entrepreneur, when you're starting out, there might be times where you sit in the dark. Thankfully, I didn't have any kids, didn't have a wife. Now I'm to the point to where I'm starting to, really look at those things again. I was married before, and kind of went through a difficult time. That was part of that difficulty I mentioned. But thankfully, it was just me for the most part. And there were some times where, as my business did what I felt it needed to do, I sat in the dark. There were times, y'all, where I can tell you, I might have cleared. I might have cleared 15K for that year. I couldn't even tell you how I did that. Couldn't even tell you how I lived off of that. It was by God's grace. And one of the things that I learned though is in that whole process is you got to keep focused. You got to keep going. Don't stick with it for 6 months, and then if it don't work in 6 months, you're giving it up. Who knows? That seventh month could have been your breakthrough. You could have been following it for 3 years, and that third year you just, oh man, I'm throwing in the towel. And who knows, that fourth year could have been your year. The average small business doesn't even really start to make money, and this study has been recalculated because they used to say five. It's not even five anymore, y'all. Understand this. The average small business starting out, and we're not even going to throw any type of race into the equation. The average small business starting out, it takes them 10 years to see any type of return on their investment, what they put in their business. Think about that. A decade, a
Wow.
whole decade.
Yep.
If you don't have staying power, as Barry White put it, you just not gonna last. It's just
Right.
this is what it is, you know. So one of the things that helped me, and this is going back to the lesson learned, when it got difficult, when it got, you know, those points where it was just like, oh man, I give up. God, I just don't even understand. Apart from having prayer, which of course, that's that if you don't believe in God, I don't know about you, but for me, having the prayer, that was a part of it. But the other part that probably was, it speaks more to just, you being a human, is having a release. And me having the release of being able to draw, um, that was always with me, and that was given freely. I had that ever since I was a kid. Um, but being able to draw kept me when I just didn't really understand, but I needed to outlet, I needed to vent, I needed to just kind of get some of the stress off of me. I would draw. And if I couldn't draw, I would pick up my instrument and play my horn. And those things kind of helped to ground me, when I was going through some really, really difficult times. You know, so finding something that allows you to kind of, deal with your stress when you're going through your whole business woes, that was something that I wish somebody had told me earlier. But I had to learn it for myself. Even taking little small trips out of town, I might have went down to Florida, got a room at the Motel 6, and just so I could see the sunrise, in a different city at the beach. And I'm telling you, y'all, I might have had $75, $100 to make that trip work. And I did it. And you know what? It gave me a piece of mental clarity. Watching that sunrise in a different place, it was, in a way, to me, kind of like, you know what? I'm not there yet. I'm not there to where I can be on the beach in Jamaica watching the sunrise. But you know what? This little trip is that motivation that I need mentally to help me get there. This is giving me that little view to get there. And
Okay.
so having that outlet is a lesson learned that, like I said, I wish somebody had told me sooner. Probably would have been a lot better off a lot sooner. But, it is
Right.
what it is.
Well,
Oh, hey,
man.
look, I'm a little sneak peek for y'all.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful.
Little
I
piece
love it.
I'm
Are y'all
working on.
seeing that? Are y'all seeing that? So Earl, I'm gonna wrap it up, but Earl got like all of the talent where it comes to creativity, y'all. I just let you know. He is an artist, in every sense of the word. Okay, so he paints, he draws, he plays the saxophone. How many instruments do you play?
Play just all the saxophones, so like three
Oh,
saxophones, four saxophones really.
four saxophones. So that's the alto, the tenor, the
Tenor,
soprano,
soprano, and the baritone.
and the
Right now, I only
baritone.
got two. Yeah, but I've played all four.
Wow. So, as you all can see, there was nothing left for me to get on the creative side because Earl took it off. so, so I have other giftings, right? That God gifted me in. But again, we truly truly thank you for carving out time in your busy schedule, Earl, and sitting down and sharing those best practices and those hard lessons that you've learned. It truly has been a benefit, I know, to me, and I'm sure to the Five Finance family as well. I'm gonna see if we have any other. So Wayne says this should be shared so that our Black youth can see where determination can take you. I'm proud of you, brother, and I am proud too. I echo that sentiment. He is
Oh
true.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think. I think. Our youth do need to see this. Like they need to see more
yeah.
of this.
One more thing, y'all. I'm gonna say just this one more
Uh-huh.
thing. Miss Andrews.
It's okay.
So the other thing, and this was a lesson learned, and this one is kind of recent. So this one is me kind of getting control of my business.
Mm-hmm.
And what you need is an accountant. Listen to that, y'all. I'm not saying that to plug my sister or to promote her business. I'm telling you, what you need is an accountant. Again, that's a lesson learned. I think maybe I might have knew that, but just kind of wanted to put it off and say, "Oh, I can do it myself," and "Oh, I can handle it." But let me tell you, when your business starts growing and it starts, growing faster than you can handle it, and then you got already a million things you got to deal with, and now you got to worry about, am I doing the taxes right? Am I doing the books right? Am I Man, look, no, get an accountant because some of that stuff can land you in jail.
You better tell him because Listen, Earl, I appreciate you. I appreciate you because I have a I tell clients all the time, like, you need an accountant. And I'm not just telling you that, like, even if you don't choose me, like, I have told
Right.
clients this before, even if you don't choose me, right? Let's just say that we're not a good fit. Let's just say that. And you go to someone else, that's fine. Just make sure that that person is going to give you good quality service, right? That they have your best interest in mind, because a good accountant shouldn't be meeting with you only at the end of the year. Okay, a good
Right.
accountant should be have open communication with you throughout the year, because that's where you can start doing strategies and saving money, right? Reducing that tax liability. So I'm so glad you said that. Y'all heard it from an experienced entrepreneur, somebody who has been in the game, I know, much longer than me, and probably longer than most of us, right? So he definitely has longevity. So he knows what he's talking about, Five Family. So I hope y'all listened. Wayne says, Samara, you're the best accountant I know, and I'm sticking with you for life. Yes, you have me for life, babe.
Yeah,
That's
me
funny,
too.
y'all.
I ain't going nowhere.
I appreciate it. I really, really do. But again, thank you so much for giving us a moment of your time. We really appreciate it. And thank you so much for sharing. Like, this was just good conversation. Y'all, we have this on and off the camera. I'm telling y'all. Me and Earl can sit and talk for hours. I think mainly because we're both like minded, right? We kind of share
Yeah.
some of the same thoughts as far as, where it's approaching, life. When you talk about spirituality, me and him kind of on the same wavelength in that aspect, and definitely business. Like, me and him are definitely on the same wavelength when we talk about business. So I think
Oh
that's
yeah.
why we just have these good conversations, and we kind of forgot that y'all were looking. So I'm sorry, because it was just good. It was just good conversation. But again, Earl, thank you so much. I'm going
No
to
problem.
sign off to our Five Finance family, but I want you to stay on the line so that we can connect a little bit afterwards. And again, just to express my appreciation. So hold on, but we
Okay.
are going to bring this to a close. So, Five Finance family, I want you to continue to tune in. Every week, we're going to be spotlighting a black business owner. And so this week, we had CIK Motorsports. We had Earl join us. Next week, I believe we have up a real estate guru. And we're also going to be talking to someone in the mental, in the health profession. And we're also going to be talking to somebody in education. And then we're going to wrap up the month with someone who's going to talk to us about just starting your business and some things you should know from that aspect. So every week, I want to make sure, Five Finance family, that you are tuning in, because just like Earl shares some really, really good information that most people pay for, you're going to get that same good quality information from these people as it relates to their profession, their sectors. So absolutely make sure that you tune in. Make sure that you visit Earl's website when it's up and running. Earl, do you have a date yet?
Yeah. So the site, I actually just talked with the person the other day about it, and I sent them some samples of what I kind of like. So hopefully the site will actually be up this month. It could
Good.
possibly be up this month, by the end of this month. Um, but like I said, it's not going to be official with the whole name change and everything probably until next year. But the site hopefully should be up by the end of this month.
Well, make sure you share it with us, because we definitely want to make sure that we share it with our Five Finance family. But you can also follow Earl on Instagram. You can follow him on Facebook at CIK Motorsports, I believe is his handle on both of those social media platforms. I
Yep.
know that you dabble in YouTube a little bit, so you might want to check out some of his videos
Yeah.
so you can see him in action.
Oh yeah.
It truly is a treat. He has music playing in the background and everything, y'all. So it'll put you in a good space, that's for sure. But again, Earl, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Five Finance family, for tuning in. Until next time, see you all later. Have a blessed and wonderful Tuesday evening.